why can't the digital twin of the consignment which is coming in be ready and given to the custom authorities that such and such thing is landing, sir. This is the entire footprint of that, this is the cost, and this is the duty. And I would like to just collect it from the aircraft and take it home. These are the technological challenges. Are we coming in? Yes, we will. With our technical brains and our innovative strategy to do better every time, I am very sure that we will be doing it. The component pooling. Other day, one aircraft was grounded and it was just a very small component which was required. For me, it should not even have taken more than 6 hours to service that aircraft. And because of the supply chain issues and everything, that small spare took 15 days. A wide body aircraft remaining on ground for 15 days is a crime which perhaps no one can afford. Luckily for that airlines, maybe their services were also disrupted because of the Gulf disruption. It did not hurt that much, but then on a good day, 15 days disruption would have hurt so badly. So now to sum it up, aviation hub, an integrated hub which takes care of the needs of the passenger, the cargo, the MRO. The MROs are able to provide the similar service through the technically qualified people, the people who are the best technicians in the world, who have the skill levels which matches their counterparts in Europe, US. The R&D system, R&D ecosystem, which is supporting back the MROs to develop the new technology to achieve that. So we are looking forward for all this so that MRO doesn't remain a simple cost hub or cargo doesn't remain a niche market. Both of them become part of everyday's life of each of us. We are looking forward to having India as such aviation hub, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for your valuable insights and for highlighting the critical role of MRO services in strengthening India's aviation ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest today, Shri Kapil Kaul, with over 25 years of experience in aviation and hospitality, leads the India's operations of CAPA, Center for Aviation, and is a respected voice in aviation research, consulting, and policy advisory. His insights have consistently shaped industry, discourse, and strategic directions. And I now have the privilege of inviting Shri Kapil Kaul, CEO CAPA, India, to kindly deliver the keynote address. Let's put our hands together to welcome sir.
Thank you very much. It's good to speak this time, to be the last speaker, because we have industry leaders, so there's very little to add. But before I start, let me just thank you, Lieutenant General K.M. Seth, former Governor of Tripura and Chhattisgarh, and the President of FAST, for inviting me. Mr. V.P. Agarwal, former Chairman AI, Vice President FAST, and member, a very distinguished leader in the airport side. Tushar Jani, I happened to tell him that it's very easy for a successful cargo airline. He set up India's very first successful cargo airline. So it's easy for you to say that you can start and be successful again. It hasn't happened since the Blue Dart days. Ashwini Acharya, who I know very well. Yashpal Sharma ji, Sharat Agrawal, CEO of Air India Engineering Services, Mr. Besbarwa ji, and Vandana ji, who possibly there can't be any cargo and MRO session without you. You did an outstanding job, and honestly speaking, with such sincerity that I haven't seen. So it's good to see you too. Okay, so There were two things I picked up from whilst Mr. Tushar Jani was speaking. He said rethink cargo. Obviously, we heard rethink MRO. But I think it's important that we rethink aviation, and it's time, given the circumstances that we are in, that we have a look at where we are and where we are heading, and what's the damage that current challenges would do in terms of our appetite to invest going forward. And we can come to that in a minute. But before that, I'll state the obvious. India is an exceptional growth story. From a 4 trillion to 10 to 20 to 30 trillion for 20, 25 years, there's going to be an exceptional growth. And it's not going to be for just a decade, it will continue for multiple decades. So the long term is very good. And all of us believe in it. Everybody, in any conference, we see that India, long-term fundamentals of growth for aviation, India are very good. But we also add that the short term is a challenge. Sometimes short term is COVID, sometimes short term is this war, sometimes short term is that exceptional fuel increases, or there could be multiple reasons. Let me also state the obvious that we have a great potential, and it's up to us to take advantage of it. But let me just step aside and say that what has happened from 90s, when the first deregulation happened, the same story. India has great long-term potential. We will do very well. Once we grow from 1 to 2 to 5 to 10 trillion economy, we'll do very well. Long-term is great, short-term is a problem. Now let's look at what have we achieved in these span of about 20 years, particularly since the deregulation started. Our traffic is now 170 million domestic from 14 million, exceptional. Our international is roughly about 70 million from almost about 7-8% CAGR for 20 years. Airport infrastructure has been a remarkable story, not only in the metros, we have twin airports now, 100 more airports coming, so a lot of activity there. And there is possibly in other areas that there has been a significant work. So we could end up saying that we have achieved a lot. But it's very important if we have to look at the future. And I say this with, I've been saying this for a long time, so I'll say this with a lot of humility now, that we have underachieved consistently. Why we have achieved consistently? We have stalwarts here, we can possibly discuss that. That our aviation system, before we talk about cargo's potential and we talk about MRO potential, or to talk India's potential, obviously it's great. But why do we end up underachieving? Why didn't India have a world-class MRO till now? Why don't we have a world-class cargo airline till now? Why are our airlines bleeding to the tune of $25 billion since 2004? If on one side we show the traffic has grown, we have built these airports, but beneath that is a very serious issue that we are facing, we keep neglecting, which is that we have a chronic issue in terms of airline viability. So before we think cargo, and I'll come to that, and before we think about MRO, we have to make sure that the aviation system is more functional and targeted. What do we mean by targeted? Means not only airlines which can close every 2-3 years, means a very solid, sustainable airline industry, viable airline industry, which can invest capital and get return on that capital, very, very important. And once that is addressed, the byproduct of a cargo, the byproduct of an MRO, everything else will fall in place. It is this dysfunctionality about the airline system in India that perhaps puts everything up in what I call a question mark. So when we look at, and I had the privilege of talking to Vandana ji during her days in the ministry, at least you used to listen, that was very good, is the institutional infrastructure for aviation. Kindly have a look, where are we in terms of institutional infrastructure? And that would mean, how is our policy? We started UDAN in 2015, it's no longer relevant, it was not fully implementable. It could not have been fully implementable. Secondly, look at our regulatory framework. Is it designed for bringing a more fundamental aviation system which is more targeted? Physical issues, direct, indirect taxes sometimes are 20% of the total revenues of an airline. Then we have the competition and consumer issues, which are going to be very predominant because we are now a consolidated industry. And how is our air safety regime? It's a national issue now how our air safety is. We may decide to forget about once the accident is over. It's going to cost significant to India's